If you want to see an MP humbled when she was caught out having a squarey outburst, then look away now, because here's how Gillian Keegan, Education Secretary, responded when confronted by Sophie Ridge on Sky.
Gillian Keegan, Education Secretary, joins us now in the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let's start off by playing the clip that everyone is talking about today.
But we will get a plan, and every single one of them will be done.
OK, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone ever say, you know what, you've done a good job because everyone else has sat on their and done nothing? No signs of that, no?
So do you think you're doing an effing good job?
I wasn't talking about me, actually. I was talking about the department. The job that I was talking about started in March 2022, so way before I was in. But what the department's done since March 2022 is taken a completely different approach. So the way school buildings are managed in the country is through responsible bodies. So they have all the responsibility for school building, finding out RAC, doing the surveys, etc.
And then she carries on waffling until the matter is far behind her. This is all very similar to this encounter, also on Sky, when asked by Kay Burley about a £32 million refurbishment on the Education Department offices.
I read in my Sun newspaper this morning that you spent £32 million refurbishing your offices, did you?
I don't know, actually, I didn't. I haven't done it.
Looks very nice.
Which offices?
Your offices, Department of Education.
Yeah, I know that when I was last in the department, I was on a different floor, and I know they are refurbishing some of them. But no, I wasn't
Best
involved
use of funds
in that.
At the moment?
Well, I don't know what I mean, I guess there's some maintenance requirements that they had on there. I wasn't part of that decision, to be honest, but I'll check when I get back. I know that I'm in a different floor than we used to be in, so I guess they're refurbishing aspects of the building. But of course, every part of the public estate needs to be refurbished and, you know, needs to be kept up to speed. In this case, I think it's really important to say that we have done something that we've never really done before, which is the responsible bodies normally would do this.
Though, at the moment, is it 32 million quid on offices when schools are crumbling?
I don't know what the condition of the offices. We could have been dealing with other issues within the offices, but I will look at it when I get back.
No contrition, just keep moving forward. I hate bringing this guy back on, but it's exactly what Sunak does. Verbal diarrhea until you get far away from the initial embarrassing point.
But the former permanent secretary said 50 schools a year, yes. They had funding initially for 100. They thought the total number that needed to be done per year was 300 to 400. Prime Minister, you talk a lot about trade-offs, but isn't this simply a trade-off that if you choose to save money in this area and don't put as much money into repairing schools as senior officials ask, then you run the risk of them having to shut down because of a risk of them falling down?
Well, if you look at what we've been doing over the past decade, we've been rebuilding or refurbishing about 50 schools a year. As Chancellor, I announced a new 10-year programme to refurbish, rebuild 500 schools over the decade, so completely in line with what historically we've done in this country. On top of that, I announced record funding for schools, not just to help catch up our children with lost learning, £5 billion. It was an enormous amount invested in the largest ever tutoring programme that this country has seen. That was seen rightly at the time as the priority. Our kids' learning had been hugely disrupted by COVID. It was important that we helped them catch up, particularly the most disadvantaged pupils were the ones that were impacted the most. So I thought it was right also to invest in that, alongside just increasing the day-to-day schools budget back to the record levels that we had seen previously. So taking together very strong investment in schools, and now we're getting on with mitigating the issues that we're seeing today in a way that will help children quickly get back into the classroom.
OK, here's a clip of Gillian sort of apologising, but listen to how eventually she moves her point round to blame schools for not returning surveys.
Gillian Keegan, you said that everyone else had sat on their arses, which suggests you think people hadn't been pulling their weight. Who were you talking about?
Well, I wasn't really talking about anyone in particular. It was an off-the-cuff remark after the news interview had finished, or apparently after it had finished. And I'd like to apologise for my choice language. That was unnecessary. But it was an off-the-cuff remark, basically, you know, based on the interview. The interview had been pressing me quite hard, you know, why I hadn't solved this issue, which had been going on since 1994. You know, it is frustrating because we're doing everything now to take a leading position, to be on the front foot, to put all of the support in place that responsible bodies and schools need. And it's also frustrating that we've got some questionnaires that are still not there. We've been chasing them, so we've just written again today to say you need to get your questionnaires in by the end of the week.
And if you're a gambling person, click here for a video where Sunak gives you the odds on schools falling down.